Take a 24-year-old guy living in Seattle. He did everything right. He went to a good school, got a degree in data analytics, and landed a solid entry-level corporate job. He makes $68,000 a year. Not tech billionaire money, but a real, professional salary. He runs the numbers. After federal taxes, state taxes, and basic deductions, his take-home pay is roughly $53,000 a year, or about $4,400 a month. A standard one-bedroom apartment within a 1-hour commute of his office costs $2,300 a month. He is now down to $2,100. His student loan minimum payment is $400. A basic used car, insurance, and gas to actually get to that job, another $600. Utilities, internet, and basic health insurance premiums, $300. He is left with exactly $800 a month before he buys a single bag of groceries, before he buys a pair of shoes, before he goes on a single date, saves for emergencies, or buys a coffee. He is mathematically drowning, and when he points this out, an entire generation of older adults looks at him and says, well, you just need to work harder, put in the overtime, show some loyalty to the company. But here is the terrifying part, the part that nobody in a suit wants to admit out loud. He isn't failing because he is lazy. He is failing because he is playing a board game where the rules were secretly rewritten while he was still in high school. What if I told you that the system isn't broken? What if it is working exactly as it was designed to work, just not for you? Today, we are going to break down the biggest lie Gen Z was ever sold, the illusion of the safe path. And if you stick around until the end of this video, I'm going to show you a specific corporate strategy, a literal business model used right now in 2026 that was specifically designed to ensure you never truly own anything for the rest of your life. But to understand the trap, we first have to look at the bait. Let's talk about the blueprint. For the last 50 years, society operated on a very specific social contract. It was called the blueprint. You know exactly what it is, because your parents repeated it to you like a religion. Go to school, go to a university, get a degree, find a safe corporate job, stay there for 40 years, buy a house with a white picket fence, and retire at 65. In 1985, the blueprint worked. It was a mathematical reality. Education was relatively cheap, housing was affordable, and companies actually offered pensions. If you gave a corporation your loyalty, they gave you stability. It was an equal trade. But then, the world changed. The economy shifted, inflation skyrocketed, but the advice? The advice stayed exactly the same. Society kept selling the blueprint to Gen Z, completely ignoring the fact that the math no longer supported it. They told us to take out $50,000 in student loans, because a degree was a guaranteed ticket to the middle class. They failed to mention that by 2026, a bachelor's degree is basically the equivalent of a high school diploma from 1990. It doesn't guarantee you a living wage. It just guarantees that your resume won't get automatically deleted by an AI scanner before a human even looks at it. We were sold a map to a treasure that was dug up and spent 30 years ago. And that brings us to the second layer of the lie, the myth of corporate loyalty. If you ask anyone over the age of 50 for career advice, they will tell you to put your head down, show loyalty, and work your way up the ladder. But let's look at the actual data. In the modern corporate world, loyalty is no longer rewarded. It is actively penalized. There is an actual term for this in economics. It is called the loyalty tax. If you stay at the same company for 5 years, your average annual raise is maybe 2% or 3%. But inflation over the last few years has been much higher than that, which means, mathematically, if you stay loyal to a company, your actual purchasing power goes down every single year. You are essentially taking a pay cut to be loyal. Meanwhile, the person who changes jobs every 2 years gets a 10 to 15% bump in salary every time they move. The system actively punishes the people who stay. And what do you get for that loyalty? When times get tough, how does the corporation repay you? They don't. We live in an era where massive tech giants and Fortune 500 companies lay off 10,000 employees on a Tuesday morning via an automated email. You can give a company 5 years of your life, miss family dinners, ruin your sleep schedule, and your access to the building will be revoked by a software algorithm before you even wake up. They demand absolute loyalty, but they treat you like a disposable subscription service, which is ironic because a subscription service is exactly what they are turning your life into. But they couldn't just force us into this system, they had to make us want it, and they did that through the most brilliant psychological trick of the 21st century, the passion trap. Growing up, we were the generation raised on the phrase, follow your passion and you will never work a day in your life. It sounds beautiful, right? But it was a trap. By convincing an entire generation that their job needed to be their passion and their identity, corporations got away with paying us less. Think about it. If you are passionate about art, or video games, or writing, or helping people, the system tells you that the privilege of doing what you love should be part of your compensation. This is why industries built on passion, like game design, animation, or social work, are notorious for terrible pay and brutal overtime. They weaponized our dreams against us. They told us to find our dream job, when the reality is, the market doesn't care about your dreams. The market only cares about leverage. If you don't have leverage, you are just a cog in a machine that is designed to extract your time and convert it into shareholder value. Earlier in this video, I told you I would show you the specific strategy designed to keep you poor. It is called the rent-seeker economy, or, as it is more commonly known, the subscription model. 20 years ago, you bought a piece of software, and you owned it forever. You bought a movie, you owned the DVD, you bought a car, and it just worked. Today, everything is shifting to a subscription. You don't own Adobe Photoshop, you rent it for $20 a month. You don't own your music, you rent it on Spotify. Car companies are literally trying to charge monthly subscriptions just to use the heated seats that are already installed in your car. But it doesn't stop at software. Wall Street and massive private equity firms are currently buying up single-family homes across the country. Whole neighborhoods, bought by corporations, sight unseen, in all cash. Why? Because they don't want you to buy a house. They want to turn the American dream into a monthly subscription. The lie wasn't just that working hard would make you rich. The lie was that you would eventually be allowed to step off the treadmill. The system is being redesigned so that your entire paycheck is automatically divided up and sent out to 15 different corporate subscriptions: rent, software, entertainment, car features, debt, leaving you with exactly enough to survive, but never enough to escape. And this is why they call Gen Z lazy. They look at us and see a generation that doesn't want to work, but they are completely blind to the truth. We are just the first generation to look at the math, look at the rules of the game, and realize the casino is rigged. Why would you run a marathon if the finish line keeps moving 10 miles away every time you get close? We aren't giving up. We are opting out. We are realizing that the old blueprint is dead. The only way to survive isn't to climb their corporate ladder, but to build your own leverage, whether that's starting an internet business, leveraging AI, building an audience, or simply refusing to tie your self-worth to a 9-to-5 job that would replace you tomorrow. They sold us the biggest lie in modern history, but the beautiful thing about realizing you have been lied to is that you never have to listen to them again. If this video made you rethink the system, subscribe. It tells the algorithm that we aren't crazy. See you in the next one.